Mind the Reality Gap. Mildly Apocalyptic, Volume 1 by C.C. Donovan. Dollhouse. It was the most spectacularly ugly piece of craftsmanship Albert Thistleton had ever laid eyes on. The dollhouse sat proudly in his parlor, an imposing Victorian miniature of a Victorian home, complete with tiny doors, windows, and wooden figurines. It had arrived from an eccentric relative he'd never met, who apparently wished to burden him with this unwanted heirloom upon their timely demise. The note that came with it read simply, "For the family's keeper." Albert hadn't the faintest idea what that was supposed to mean. "Congratulations," he muttered dryly to himself. "I suppose I've just inherited what? A dollhouse that reeks of the macabre and smells faintly of mothballs?" His wife, Ellen, merely glanced at him over her knitting, unimpressed. "It'll fit right in with the rest of your mother's old gloomy furniture you insist on keeping," she scoffed. He squinted at the dollhouse, noticing for the first time that each tiny room had miniature furniture placed exactly as it was in their actual home. His own armchair, a green monstrosity his wife hated, was replicated in perfect detail, along with a slightly crooked lamp that flickered every time he lit it. "Clearly someone spent an inordinate amount of time replicating our house. How quaint," he grumbled. Ellen peered at it from her chair. "I'd say it's downright creepy. But who knows, maybe it'll entertain our future grandchildren." She paused. "Though perhaps we should check it doesn't harbor fleas." Fleas in a dollhouse? Ellen, do be sensible. As if in reply, the parlor lights flickered. Albert grunted and wandered over to the cabinet for a brandy. It was after pouring himself a generous 3-finger serving. He noticed the dollhouse had its own brandy cabinet. His hand froze as he examined the miniature bottles of amber liquid inside the tiny cabinet. They were sealed. Curiosity, spurred by brandy-induced warmth, got the better of him, and he pried one open with his fingernail. He immediately wished he hadn't. There was actual brandy in it. That night Albert had an unusual dream. Or at least, at first, he thought it was a dream. It was a cold night in January. He was awakened by the strange intermittent glow from the dollhouse's parlor room. He stood, slaw-jacked, as tiny wooden figures moved around the miniature rooms. Tiny fires flickered in fireplaces, and to his utter disbelief, a small figurine of himself, complete with that familiar squint, sunk into the dollhouse's replica of his armchair. "Well, this is..." He searched for the word, looking around. He suddenly realized he was completely alone, and this was most likely a nightmare. Which meant, of course, he could finally say what he actually thought. The thing that would otherwise never be uttered in polite society. "This is nuttier than a squirrel's turd," he concluded.